students, welcome to the next lecture of STLE. So in this video our topic is latch versus flip-flop. So in the previous class we have seen a latch operation and flip-flop operations, and we have seen SR-Latch, JK-Latch, D-Latch, different types of latches we have seen. Now, and in the same way for flip-flop also we have seen SR flip-flop and JK flip-flop, D flip-flop, T flip-flop. The same categories we have seen in the latches and flip-flop. Then, what is the difference between latch and flip-flop? Where a latch is a enable controlled device, where a flip-flop is a clock controlled device. You can say that the latch is also controlled by a clock, but the type of clock is level triggered, where the flip-flop is controlled by edge-triggered clock pulses. The flip-flop is controlled by edge-triggered clock pulses, and latch is controlled by a level-triggered clock pulse. Okay, right. Otherwise, you can say that the level-triggered enable signal generally we are calling as enable. The level-triggered clock signal we are generally calling as enable. Let us see the list of differences for latches and flip-flops. So let us see, these are some of the differences between latches and flip-flops. Based on its behavior, we are explaining the different types of parameters. So the first column is related to latch, and this second column is related to the flip-flops. Okay, so the latch. So see the first point. A latch is a basic memory circuit which can hold one bit of data at a time. So actually, I said that previously, when the latch or flip-flop is a single bit storage device. Actually, here it is a very simple logic. When you are operating a flip-flop or latch, the output may be 0, 1. So when this data will changes up to you are giving the inputs, up to giving the next state of inputs. So when you are giving the inputs, at that time we are saying that the previous output follows. Otherwise, the previous output changes to next state output with a complement operation. That is, when you are giving, when you have 0-0 combination at the SR flip-flop, the previous output shifts to the present output. So that is the behavior we said that. So that means the previous output is held by the SR-Latch or SR flip-flop, and it is operating to the next state also. The outputs are operating to the next state also if possibility is available. That is based on the S and R values. Okay, so that is, it is holding the data. So when you have hold the data, it is nothing but as it is one type of storing. Okay, if you lost your power, there is an electrical power to your circuit, then the data may be changes. Okay, the data may be collapses. Okay, so whatever it may be the thing, you can say that is a volatile memory. That is a different thing. So you have to remember that it holds the data up to the next changes of inputs. So a latch is a basic memory circuit which can hold one bit of data at a time. That is a very important operation. Next, flip-flop is nothing but as a latch circuit with an extra control circuit. Here in the latch we don't have any control circuit. In the flip-flop, that is almost a latch, and it has a separate control circuit that is called clock. Right? And the second difference for latch and flip-flop, the latch does not need any clock signal. So latch does not need any clock signals, and flip-flop needs a clock signal which is edge-triggered, either positive edge-triggered or negative edge-triggered. That is very, very important. Next, the third difference. Latches are very fast in operation. Why? Latches are very fast in operation. Why? Why? Because the enable kit is the enable signal is on for the latch. So whenever the changes of inputs are available, then the sudden change is there for the outputs. But in the clocks, but in the flip-flops, if there is a change in the input also, it doesn't change the output. Why? Because the clock signal, the edge of the clock decides the output. If there is a change in the input, there is no change in the output. Based on the clock edge, either positive edge or the negative edge, based on the operation of the clock signal, the output is going to change. That is a very important parameter. Flip-flops are comparatively slow in operation with compared to the latches. It is slow, but it is based on the clock signal. But it has a meaningful work for that operation. Okay, so the flip-flops are the better. There is no doubt at all. Next, coming to that fourth difference. Latches, the fourth difference. Latches consumes less power as it contains less number of logic gates. Definitely, we don't have any control signals in the latch way. So for that reason, we have very less circuitry. So for that reason, it requires less amount of power only. But an excellent control is available at the flip-flops. So for that reason, we need some extra power with compared to the latch. Flip-flops consumes more power as it contains more logic gates than the latch. So with compared to the latch, we have more number of gates available in the flip-flop. Okay, right. Next, coming to that fifth difference. Register circuits cannot be made using latches because latch does not need any clock signal. So generally, when you are framing the registers, that is data storage devices, we cannot use the latches. It has some of the drawbacks. Well, because it doesn't have any clock signal. But register circuits can be made by using flip-flops because of the clock circuit. Because of the clock signal, we can design the registers. This is very, very important. Next, sixth one. The working of latches depends upon the binary inputs only. So the flip-flops will work based on the zeros and one inputs, but the latch will work based on the inputs, binary inputs zeros and one. But the working of the clock depends upon the binary inputs as well as the clock signal. So when you are operating the flip-flop, we need two inputs. One is the clock signal and one is the message input. That is very, very important. Next, coming to that. Difference 7. The different type of latches are D-Latch, SR-Latch, JK-Latch, T-Latch. These are the 4 different latches. And finally, the different type of flip-flops are SR flip-flop, JK flip-flop, D flip-flop and T flip-flop. These are some of the examples of flip-flops. Other than this, we have a lot of parameters. Okay, can you say which one is more costlier? Latch is costlier or flip-flop is costlier? It's a very simple thing. More number of gates are required for the flip-flop, and here we have very less number of gates are available in the latch. So for that reason, latch is very less cost and flip-flop is very costlier. So here I have written only 7 differences. Write down the 8 difference. So the 8th difference is here the latch is very cheap. That is very less in cost with compared to the flip-flop, but flip-flop is costly. Okay, so your processor has some cache memory. That cache memory is very, very costly. You cannot afford with a simple amount of cache. Okay, this is very, very costly. So this is very cheaper with compared to the flip-flops, where flip-flop is on the costly devices. This is one more. And coming to the size and the area, this is 9th difference. So latches are very small in size, but flip-flop has some more extra circuit. So because they are very high in size, very large in the area size. Okay, so these are the differences between latches and flip-flops. Okay, so not only these are the differences, you can make some more differences also for the latches and flip-flop. That is based on your personal analyzation. Okay, your personal analyzation is very important and it is very, very required to analyze the behaviors of the flip-flops. We have to analyze the behaviors of the flip-flops. These are the very, very important. Okay, right. Let us, right. In this class, we have seen the latches and flip-flops behaviors, and we have known the differences between latches and flip-flop. Okay, similarities and differences, both we have seen in this video. Okay, right. Thank you.